You're listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the voice of the Knights.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and I'm so honored to be joined by two members of the West Shore Connect program, Addie Mujkanovic and Basheer Walker. Addie, first of all, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. This is a real honor right here.
Well, it's our honor to have you. Of course, Addie has been a wonderful member of the Nightly News Media Club throughout his time here at Central Penn College, and we'll talk a little bit more about his future. Also welcoming Basheer Walker. Basheer, welcome back to the show. Well, not back to the show. Welcome to the show. This is your first time on the podcast.
Hello, my name's Basheer Walker, and I'm here to get this podcast on the roll and make sure that everything went smoothly.
That's what I like to hear. Also being joined by Nightly News reporter and Nightly News news correspondent, Noah Lopez. Noah, welcome back to the show.
Hey, hello, back at it again.
And what's really interesting too, Noah, and you mentioned on the last show, you're becoming a recurring character.
I'm a recurring character.
Yeah, you've sat in on several podcasts that we've had recently. So here we are. We are here at the end of the term. I know that this isn't airing until the summer term, but we wanted to have Addie and Basheer on to talk about their experiences with the West Shore Connect program. Now, both of these gentlemen did graduate back in week 11 of the spring term, so we wanted to have them on one final time to talk a little bit more about their experiences here, not only with Central Penn College, but with the West Shore Connect program. Noah's going to bring some other aspects in, including what it means to him as a Central Penn student to have the opportunity to work with these West Shore Connect students and what impact that they have on our college campus. So let's get started at the beginning.
Let's do it.
Addie, when you first found out, this is your third year here.
This is my third and final year right here.
So you are a veteran to this program.
Yes, sir.
What were your thoughts when you first heard that you were coming here to Central Penn to pilot this new program? Because if I want to preface by saying, when you first started here, it was just 3 of you here, and now it's exploded to over a dozen.
Well, there used to be 4 of us here, right? So knowing that I was the only one that came back, and the other 2 graduated and went on to Penn State College, Harrisburg. Whenever I first heard about this I said, I didn't want to go.
Why?
I guess that was in my mindset, right? Thinking I didn't want to be in this program. I mean,
you're going to be in the West Shore Connect Hall of Fame. I mean, you, not only your first year, you were so adamant about getting involved on campus. He immediately joined the Nightly News Media Club. I mean, it was really special. And, we'll get to this, but your impact on our group, not only just our group, but on the college campus, both of you, in fact, your whole group, it's hard to even describe how important it is.
Yeah.
But, okay, so maybe you might have been a little hesitant at first.
I was very hesitant on coming to Central Penn. But now that I've been here for 3 years, right, I'm going to miss it.
Well, of course. You know, Addie, you made a point in our last club meeting, which happened to be your very last club meeting that you
Sadly.
were at. Sadly. And you mentioned that this is your family. Like, you made that point.
This is my home.
That this was your home and that you're going to miss us. Of course, you're always welcome here. You can always come back. You can always be a part. You can be a part of the Nightly News forever. Like, that's not an issue. But what is it about this that you're going to miss?
Like, I'm going to miss, like being part of the Nightly News, being with the professors that I've met over the years, and I'm going to miss this one right here, too.
Okay, come on, man.
He's pointing to
Yeah.
Noah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, hey, so Addie, as you think back to the 3 years here, who are some of the professors that you've really gravitated to and have really taught you a thing or two?
Well, number one, you. You taught me how to do stand-up public speaking and stuff.
Well, not only did I have you for Com 101, I also had you for Persuasion, and you were as good or better than almost every other student in that class. You really showed...
I went up against you at the last one.
Yeah, so he's talking about our final debate. Addie actually had to debate me, and that's a tall order, but he did an excellent job. So
to beat you?
Yeah.
Okay. You might have been cheating for that one. There's no way you beat Paul Miller in debating.
Well, we were close. Addy did a great job, and he certainly should be proud of himself. But so I want to go over to Basheer. Basheer, I know that this is your first full year. What was it like for you when you first found out that you were coming over here to the West Shore Connect program?
Well, personally, I was at a virtual meeting and everything when we first discussed it and everything. They were talking about their life there and everything. And at first, the lunch was everything, like pretty cool and everything. But I didn't really want to go because I thought I knew what everything is to being an adult. I was in a different mindset, a dark place at the time.
So what did you learn in your time here that maybe changed that mindset that you had?
I learned that there's always something new to learn about being an adult and everything. And I also learned how to be more independent and how to be and how to do all kinds of things and how college isn't as easy as it looks. That got rid of my dark mindset that I had.
Well, and I appreciate that. And that is something, Basheer, that a lot of people really struggle with. The transition from sort of high school to where you kind of know everyone and everyone kind of knows you to a new place, a new college in this particular case. You got to relearn everything. You got to relearn where things are. You got to relearn who your friends are, who the people you can reach out to. And those are the things that are not easy.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that transition for you.
Well, that transition for me was like, at first I was like, man, I don't even want to be here. I just want to get a job. I just want to get back to accelerate my college experience and everything. But as time went on, I've realized that this was probably my calling. This is like something that I would do for, even if it's just 1 year. At least I'm getting something out of it.
Of course. So, Noah, I want to come back to you here, and I want to talk to you. I know that Noah is a freshman, and this is sort of your first experience with working with the West Shore Connect program. But I want to ask you, as a current student, what are the benefits of being in classroom with students from the West Shore Connect program?
Benefit is a lot of them, I've only been in class with Addy so far, and he brings a type of a crazy mood to the room that really lightens it up if it's like a quiet day. He'll always be, "Hey, Professor Miller, you forgot to say that," or something funny, because Addy brings a certain energy to the room, and I do enjoy that because he reminds me of me, because I bring an energy to the room as well. So we bash heads a lot, exactly. And Addy also, just spending some time with him in class. It's genuinely made class better sometimes, because sometimes he'll be there and I'll be like, "Oh man, look what we have to do today. I'm writing so much," and then he'll say something silly. But I get it, like you get it, but you don't get it at the same time. It's confusing. But I do think that through this program and experiencing it through the college, I think one thing I can gain is I can gain a better understanding of who he is and what he represents as a person. And I think that maybe what you're taking away is you get a better experience of what college is really like and how you can adapt that into real life and adapt the skills you learn here into your future career. Like your networking and things like that. Yeah.
So one of the things that I've always gravitated to, my son is on the autism spectrum and never had an opportunity for something quite like this. And I think what is so interesting about this program, and for those of you who may not know a lot about the West Shore Connect program, I do encourage you to go to cpcnightlynews.com. Brett Savaleski did a really, really nice piece about how West Shore Connect is looking for mentors.
He did very good.
And I'd like to talk about that with you just for a moment, gentlemen, about the need for student mentors here at the college. So one of the things that, frankly, has been a struggle for the program is finding mentors who are able to work with our West Shore Connect students. Abby Bresky, who is our Nightly News president.
She's been with us for like 3 years now.
She has been a wonderful addition to the program. Unfortunately, though, for the program at least, she's getting ready to graduate. Yeah. So she is, in her last term as a West Shore Connect mentor. So Addy and Basheer, I'll start with Addy. Tell us what a mentor does, and tell us why those mentors are so important for your growth here.
So what a mentor does, right? They help us out with basically anything that we need. They either take us to class or, heck, even take us to the underground or help us out with our jobs and stuff. any assignments, classwork, anything that we need done, they can help us out with anything. But what we need in a mentor, we need a positive attitude, honestly. Miss B, she does not like people with that kind of cocky attitude.
So, would you say that yes, they're there to help you? They're there to help you with your homework, maybe take you to some things on and off campus, but they're really just a friend, right?
Yeah.
So, tell us how Abby was a friend to you over your time here, and someone you'll never forget.
Whenever I first met Abby, I think that was doing that video with.
Yeah,
with
we made a documentary, and again, you can go to cpcnightlynews.com and check out that documentary that we did with Abby and Jen and Dylan and myself and Professor Rife. It was a wonderful time.
Check it out on YouTube.
Oh, that's the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I saw that on YouTube. I was like, oh look, there's a West Shore Connect with you.
Yeah.
So, but it's about just a friendship and to have someone who you trust and that cares about you and is looking out for you, and that's very important. Basheer, I want to talk to you about your experience with the mentors. What did the mentor mean to you? What did the mentors mean to you, and what have you learned from them?
Someone who is a compass to your wind ways. Someone who can actually help you out with all kinds of things and that's looking out for you. You hit the nail on the head. But just simply a friend. Someone who's willing to go out of their way and get out of their time to spend time with you, even if it's just a small sprinkle of time. At least they spend time with you.
And I'll put the email along with this for Sherry Brenzier. She is the sort of the liaison between the West Shore Connect program and Central Penn College. If any of those students out there would like to consider being a mentor, such an important piece of this program is having our students be a part of what we have going on. So before we get to some other aspects, I know Noah has a couple of questions for you gentlemen. Noah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys, at your time being here, what did you really take away from it? What's your best memory? Like, what did you enjoy the most?
So the best memory, what I took away from it was it helps us get ready for like real college and stuff. Being in these college classes, right? They help out a lot, and it gets us prepared for like the real life. My favorite memory is being out on the field. Basically.
On the field, what did you do?
So what Addy is referring to is was it at the ESAC championship game?
He was at the ESAC championship.
Or was it senior day?
It was a doubleheader at the FMB field.
Okay. It was one of the final games of the season, and you actually were there on the field and welcomed the Knights onto the field as part of a West Shore Connect Connection Tuesday.
It was on the field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even get to go on the field. You got to go on the field.
I seen you in the middle where home base was.
Well, we're in the stands.
Yeah.
For when we're doing our broadcasts. So
And-
tell us about that day.
It was awesome. Not only I got to be on the field, but I also got to announce.
You got to be PA. You got to do the PA. You were calling the names out for everybody. That was a really special day. I remember that. And I'm so glad that you could be part of it. Why did that mean so much to you, though, as you look back?
First time doing it. I mean, it was my first time doing it. And I've never done that never done it before.
And what about you?
Oh,
What are your favorite memories?
One of my favorite moments is that it's hard to think of one, but if I must have to have my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments was CPC validations.
Okay.
Where the professor was. He was pretty awesome. He was a pretty awesome dude, and we got to chat a little and everything. I did not know he doesn't even use social media, which I get. You can't be careful nowadays. I mean, nowadays people can do anything, do this and do that. It's just, yeah. And I'm trying to learn how to be a white hat hacker so I can... White hat hackers are basically people that are ethical hackers that hacks within permission and everything. Black hat hackers are the usual hackers that'll do anything, get your information without consent. CPC validations is the first thing you actually go to before you go to college. It teaches you all about what it's like to be in college and how to actually function at college and stuff.
So, okay, obviously the two of you have had varied experiences, right? Basheer, you've been here this is your third term. Addy, you've been here for 3 years. And you've talked about what all of the experiences have done up to this point. But the question is, what's next for you? What are you going to be doing? Addy, I know for a fact that you have an awesome job over the summer. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Knowing that I have gotten to meet with the boss, I actually get to start tomorrow, and it's going to be somewhere in Carlisle, I think.
And so Addy is going to actually be working for the Parks Department, the Carlisle Parks and Recreation Department, as somebody who is going to be working at the individual parks in Carlisle, making sure they are beautiful, clean, and free of debris. And so one of the things, before I go back to Basheer and ask him, tell us a little bit more about your job you had last summer along those same lines.
I liked it. I did not like the heat, honestly. It was so hot.
Well, Addy, you worked also for the Mechanicsburg Parks Department last summer. So clearly, your experiences here have helped you not only develop an excellent resume, but have actually given you some job skills. Part of that was from you working on campus. So tell us some of the jobs that you've had while you were here, and then we'll talk about how those jobs are going to parlay you into these positions you have over the summer.
So I've had like all the jobs. I had from cleaning the tour suite, from picking up trash to doing flyers. I think those are the two main things, right? Knowing that I would have to do in these parks department.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I think is really interesting, Addy, is that you have managed to not only develop the classroom skills, to develop the interpersonal skills with your classmates and your professors, but also you've developed some job skills. Some of the things that you were doing around campus, even if it was just cleaning up and beautifying our campus, that means so much. Because even just today, when we were sitting out front on the bench, when I was sitting out front waiting for you guys, just to look around and see how beautiful our campus here is at Central Penn College in Summerdale, it's really just a testament to all of the hard work that you guys have done as part of West Shore Connect. And now, Addy, because of that, now you've parlayed that into a job with the Carlisle Parks Department, which I think is just tremendous. Yes. Is it going to be hot? Yes, it is. But Addy, somebody's got to do it, and it's you. You're the one. You've developed these skills. You developed your interpersonal skills, and now you're going to go out and keep our Carlisle parks clean.
Got to have someone with the motivation to really protect nature and keep the parks pretty, or no one would go. You know,
Absolutely, 100%.
True, 100%.
So Basheer, what are your plans? Are you coming? You're graduating. So what's next for you?
Well, what's next for me is that I'm going to hire G. Andrews at Jamestown and everything. It's a technical institute.
Okay.
I'm learning there for 2 years, and then I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to learn for the next 2 years. So that way I can have 4 years. That way I can get more income raised and everything. Not only that, but I'm doing everything on IT and everything, just fixing computers and doing networking and all that. And then that way, when I go there, I'll be able to make a lot of money, probably enough to even go to Japan and live there.
Oh, you want to live in Japan?
Yes, that is my plan, to start a
goal.
family there too.
He's been talking about it since.
It's his dream, man.
Yeah, it's his dream, definitely.
Yes.
I love that.
I think everyone
yes.
should have that dream.
That's why I'm also learning the language right now.
Oh,
You're learning the language of Japanese.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
pretty
right.
impressive.
I mean, if I'm going to live there, I might as well learn it.
Well, you have to.
He's learned the moves
communicate.
already.
Really? That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I mean, I think it's good that you're following your dream because, I mean, I've studied this and I also just believe this personally that if we don't have a dream or goal to pursue or to work towards, we will feel like we have no purpose or that we're doing it for no reason. But
That's
at
right.
the end of the
That's
day,
right.
we all have a purpose or a reason, and I think that's amazing.
Plus,
Awesome.
Japan's also an anime and gaming fest. For
Okay,
me, which is a
dude.
good idea for me. It's always a good thing for me because
well, listen, I just, as a personal note, I just want to tell you, I've had both of you in class. Obviously, Addy, I've gotten to get to know you quite well. I've had you for several classes, at least
Several.
4 that I can think of. I had you for like 4 different classes, if not more. And
Yeah.
but
Well, you had him for nightly news as well, so that counts as 5.
Yep,
right
I was
there.
getting there. Yeah, and I got to see you as part of Nightly News, and you were published multiple times. And I just hope that you can look back on this experience as one that not only was beneficial to you in helping you cultivate this passion for the outdoors, but also something that you're never going to forget. That the friends and family that you've met here, and I use family in quotes, but the friends and family that you've made here are hopefully people who you're always going to have in your life. And just remember, Addie, that just because you leave the West Shore Connect program, that doesn't mean that you can't reach out to me or Abby or Professor Olympi or Noah. Remember, we're always still going to be around, at least in the coming years. And I hope that you take advantage of the network that you've made, because that's what this is all about. Creating new memories, new bonds, and bonds that'll last hopefully forever. So I hope that you remember how much we care about you, and I hope that you take advantage and reach out to us and keep us up to date with how you're doing.
Will do. I got you.
Well, Miller said, man, we're not going anywhere. You can always reach out and you can come back. This campus is, I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
It's not. I know it's not for sure.
Yeah.
And Basheer, maybe in a different way, I hope that you were able to use this as a way to not only just give you sort of an introduction to college, but also to help you understand that how supportive the college campuses can be. When you go to your new technical school, remember that there are people there just like us who want to help you. I got into this business in higher education because I wanted to help people. And unfortunately, sometimes my students don't allow me to help them.
Yeah, I get you.
I appreciate being an individual, but you also have to remember we don't get anywhere in life without people assisting us.
True.
Myself.
That's facts. That's facts.
true.
That's facts.
Myself,
That's facts.
in all seriousness, if it wasn't for some people who I had helped me over the years, one of them being Steve Hassinger, one of them being Dr. Melissa Whaler, one of those being Dr. Jared Reif and Dr. Brian Ellsworth, who have fostered my, improved teaching over the years. We all need help to get to our goals, and I hope you take advantage of that at your new school. And remember that they're just there because they want to help you, and I hope you let them help you.
I will. Don't worry.
Oh, so you're leaving as well?
I'm not closed
Yeah, he's
like
leaving.
that.
Yeah,
No.
we're both out.
Well, and I want to just make a final note that I will very much be looking forward to coming to graduation. I will be actually leaving on vacation later that day, but I wouldn't miss that for the world. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and being there to celebrate your honor of finishing and completing the West Shore Connect program. So listen, Addie, I want to just, again, first of all, thank you for all of your hard work, not only just with the Nightly News Media Club, but also in the classroom. But most of all, you mentoring other people. Ever since you were one of the first people here, and then you were the first person to come back for a second year, you've been someone that the people in this program look up to. And that means so much to all of these people, and they're going to be so much better off because they've gotten to know you.
I mean, anytime, if anyone needs anything, I'm there all the time.
I appreciate that. And Basheer, again, it was been such a pleasure to know you, and you were such a wonderful person in my class as well, and you've done so much to improve the lives of other people, not only just at the college, but also in the West Shore Connect program. So I want to thank you, and I wish you all the best.
No problem. And while I pursue my dreams, I'm gonna remember y'all and make sure that y'all are, and make sure that all the video games are out for y'all to play. If y'all,
All right.
for all gamers around there.
Are you going to make games?
Yes, that's my true goal.
That's
Gonna
awesome.
make games.
I love to hear that. And again, Noah, thank you so much, not only just for being here, but for also sort of in a way mentoring Addie in through the time in the Nightly News. And gosh, it really means the world that you've taken to this group so positively. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, thanks, but he was here longer than me.
Even so. Even so.
Okay.
For real.
Well, listen, it's honestly been my pleasure to get to work with you, the two of you, throughout this time here, your time on campus, and I just wish you all the best in your next endeavors. So, Addie, best of luck to you with the Parks Department this year. Just remember, Carlisle's my hometown. And
I know.
I need you to make sure you keep those parks clean because especially
Will do.
I spent a lot of time in my life at Thornwald Park over there. I grew up not a block from there. So if you're ever over at Thornwald Park, you make sure you're keeping it looking nice.
I got you.
I get you. I grew up in Carlisle as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
So we're basically fellow Carlisle people.
Yeah. No, of course I'm joking. And Basheer, best of
Okay.
luck to you. And please, if you ever need anything, you always have a home here at Central Penn.
Don't worry. I will.
All right. Well, hey, that is going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I want to thank West Shore Connect graduates, Addie Mujkanovic and Basheer Walker for joining us today. And, of course, Nightly News correspondent Noah Lopez for joining us today as well.
No
Peace
problem.
out. The
Thank
Blue
you so
Dragon
much.
soars.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shauna.
And I'm Denise.
And I'm Adrienne from the Pirate Life Podcast, and you're listening to the Nightly News Podcast.
Arr!
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and I'm so honored to be joined by Central Penn Knights men's basketball player Donnell Loud. Donnell, welcome to the show. Is this your first podcast?
Yes, this is my first podcast. Thank you for having me.
Well, my gosh, this has been something that we've talked about for quite some time. Donnell has been wanting to come on and talk a little bit about his experience here at Central Penn College as part of our men's basketball team. I want to talk a little bit more about why he came to Central Penn, what some of his inspiration was, and of course, we'll take a look at the season that was, and I think that's kind of where we're going to start. You know, we have had, in fact, on the last episode of last term, we had Casey Hicks on, the athletic director, talked a little bit more about the seasons that were, not only just with basketball, but with baseball as well. You know, Donnell, I think it's fair to say that when you look back at the season and, you know, you ultimately ended up with the 9-18 record, I'd say it's fair to say that that's not quite what you all had expected. Would you say that's true?
It's definitely not. It's really not. You know, like, we just gotta come together as a family, come together as a team. That's just it. That's just all we have to do. Just stick together.
And I think one thing I do want to mention is certainly, you know, I and Kevon and Dalton and some of our other Tyler and Brian, some of the people who are involved with the broadcasts, we do get and have a little bit different of an insight because we do get to see the team in at least the home games, you know. But one thing I would say, you know, no matter what ultimately ended up happening, and, you know, the beginning of the season was a challenge. In fact, only just those two victories, the one versus Manor and the one versus Williamson Trade, those two home matchups. You look just fantastic in those two contests, but some of the other ones, including some of the really tight losses that you had earlier in the season, it was tough for you to get going out of the beginning. So what would you say was one of the toughest things for you in your experiences in that beginning of the season that caused you all to get off to such a slow start?
I would say, like, the chemistry. I feel like nobody, like, if a person did good, I feel like nobody was cheering for each other. Nobody was clapping for each other. But most importantly, I felt like we didn't have that energy. I felt like we came out sluggish. And, you know, we just got to do better coming out. Have some energy, have some pride, just have some heart, come out and play basketball and just do what you do and just stay focused, stay mentally locked in.
One of the things that I would say was a really cool aspect of the season was getting to go to Appalachian State. That would have been back on Tuesday, December the 5th. Obviously, the game didn't quite go the way that you expected, but let's now that it's, you know, been 7 months now since this has happened, half of a year, how do you look back on that experience? Obviously, I know that you guys would have all hoped that you would have played a little bit better, but now in hindsight, how do you look back on that experience? Were there any positives that you could take away for you and the team for the rest of the season?
I could say, like, it was a great experience. Like, we got a chance to watch the Appalachian State game, girls play. Then as soon as we head to the locker room, this is like the moment. This is like
you were on ESPN.
Like, this is like we're about to be on TV. And I remember, like, I'm on the bus and I woke up just, like, ready to go. I'm on the bus. I'm listening to music. I'm, like, tuning everybody out. I'm talking to my mom before the game, and we're just talking, laughing, having fun. Then I started talking to my dad. He was talking to me. He was like, how do I go on ESPN? I'm like, just change the channel. It's ESPN Plus. So I sent it out to my family, people I went to high school with. My family, I sent it to them. And as soon as we got off the bus, I remember I did something, and that got me so much energy. Like, when we played against Penn State Lehigh Valley, I took a 5-hour energy drink, put water together, and all of a sudden I had my headphones in. Everybody in the crowd is just trying to figure out, like, he's bouncing off the wall. He's like, hyped. What did he do to get so hyped? So all I know is when I came into the game, I knew, like, I had some energy. You got to have some energy during the game. You can't come out all slow. Like, you got to have energy. But to look back at that, it was a great experience. Played a lot in front of crowds. I was a little bit nervous, but I realized I couldn't get nervous.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's this is probably one of the biggest showcases that you've probably ever had in your life, and that's why reflection is such an important thing in our lives. I mean, even in a situation, there's two ways you could look at this now. You went down, the game was not really that close. So there's a lot of different ways you could look at this. You could have, felt sorry for yourselves, or you could have looked at it as a way to motivate you and say, you know what, we're better than this. That just maybe will give you the fire to work a little bit harder and work a little bit and put a little bit more into it to try to get and achieve the goals that you have. So I think if nothing else, this is sort of a metaphor for a lot of the things that we go through in our lives. We're not always going to be successful at every single thing we do. That's just not possible. But sometimes the downs teach us so much more than the ups ever could. You also have to remember Appalachian State was an unbelievably competitive team last year and had played very, very well against some really tough SEC teams, which, let's just be honest. I know that the game didn't quite go the way that you'd wanted to, but now you saw a different level of competition. So let me ask you, later in the season, as you come back, into the second half, did that happen? Would you say that loss and that sort of experience helped maybe put, light a fire and motivate you in a different way for not even just you, but the team as a whole?
I think with our team captain, he got everybody fired. He got everybody hyped up. He got everybody, when he started yelling and said, you got to have some pride, y'all got to have heart, that turned us up. That turned us up a bit. And I met Khalil Dukes back in 2022, and because I know him through an old friend of mine I played in AAU basketball with, Will Thomas. I met Khalil through Instagram. We was talking. We tried to get me here, but...
Well, because you're both from Maryland, right?
Yes. We tried to get me here. It didn't work, so I had to do 2 years of JUCO at Hartford Community College. So after I got done there, that's when we got me here. And one of my experience, I could say, coming to Pennsylvania, I was a bit nervous. I didn't know anybody here, didn't have any friends. I wasn't I was always not a talking guy, but it was more of a, you got to get comfortable now that you're here. Because it was I remember, and this is true, I remember just sitting in my room, just trying not to cry because I know I was missing my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, and everybody else.
I moved 4 hours away. Now, granted, I was still in the state of Pennsylvania when I went to school, but I know exactly how you feel. And frankly, I'm sure a lot of students out there know how you feel. Not everybody is in their hometown. Some people traveled. And yes, you're traveling from different states. Fortunately enough, you're only about, an hour and a half from here?
Yeah.
So it's not crazy far for you to go. So the reason that I ask... Once the second half of the season started, on January 13th, you dropped a heartbreaking game to Christendom. And gosh, I was at that game, and that game could have gone either way. But after that game, you ran off 6 consecutive wins. Cheney, Patrick Henry, Manor, Patrick Henry again, Williamson, and Bucks. 6 straight wins. What was it about that winning streak there in early January of this year that really, did a light switch flip on for you guys? What happened?
I think we had to realize, we on the team couldn't be selfish, but I realized, we actually played together like a family. I don't know what got us there, but it's just, we really came together. We really, did it.
Well, and again, even though a couple of really, really close losses after that, including at Christendom versus Manor and at Bucks, you came back end of the season, February 24th, and won a dynamic game on senior night. That's a game that, for me, calling these games and being a part of Knights basketball that I have been over the last few years, that's a game I'm never going to forget. Not only did Rodney just have an unbelievable game in his last game ever here, but the team played together. And that's what I think, at least the first part of the season, that I think that you guys were missing a little bit. So at worst, second half of the season, you run off 6 games in a row and you win a convincing game against Cheney, who frankly has played us very tough over the years. So if nothing else, can you at least look at that as something to build on going to next season?
I think build on the next season. Everybody has to do their part. Everybody has to buy in. I think everybody just gotta play your game, play your heart out, is something my mom and dad always told me, like, always play your heart out, bring your A game. You never know who's watching. This is like coming from my mom and dad who played sports. My mom played high school basketball for Lake Clifton. She wore the jersey number 12. My dad wore number 12. So it's kind of like when number 12 was available, I knew it. And everybody was like, why you always wearing number 12? Because this represents my parents.
Absolutely.
It represents my mom, my dad, because my mom always told me, when you always put that number 12 on, remember where you from, remember who you represent, and it represents both my parents. I love both my parents. I thank my mom and dad every day.
That's so great. I love to, as a parent of two folks. My son has special needs, and he's 24 years old, and he lives with us. But my daughter just graduated from college, and I mean, that's
congratulations.
I will absolutely share that with her. She's doing very well, but you know, I gotta say that's all a parent could ever want to hear. Well, let's sort of flash forward a little bit. So obviously, we know lost Quadir Allen and Rodney Ross as seniors, two of the most well-known basketball players that Central Penn College has ever seen. And to see them ride off into the sunset is bittersweet, because of course we got to see some amazing moments with them over the years, but now there's a big hole to fill on this team. Are you going to be the one that steps into that hole?
Look like I'm gonna have to. Look like I gotta take over. And I'm happy for those guys that graduated. I hope they continue that next journey on wherever they go. And I remember I met Rodney and Quadir. I met them. I remember I'm walking in the house like, all right, I don't know these guys, so let me just introduce myself. I introduced myself to Rod, dapped him up. Introduced myself to Quadir, I dapped him up. Then that's when we came close. That's when me, Rod, we came close. And this is like, we always laugh at practice, because I remember at practice, they always called me, the whole team always called me Mr. Tall Man, because it's like I'm like the tallest one on campus, tallest one.
How tall are you?
6'9".
But I want to talk a little bit more about your background. We did have a chance to talk about the season last season, and that 6-game winning streak was so impressive. I remember that 48-47 Williamson trade victory, and I remember that game at versus Bucks 87-85. But let's just be honest, it is going to be a challenge moving forward without those two stars on the team. But if nothing else, Donnell, that's going to give you all that much more opportunity to step in and be that mentor that they were to you and other teammates to the new people coming in. Because that's, just the nature of college basketball. You're always going to lose a couple of folks. You're always going to gain a couple of folks. And, the longer you're around, the more people are going to come to you about how things are done around here, especially, and Coach is going to lean on you too, Coach Gary Martin. Well, I want to talk a little bit about your inspiration. Tell us a little bit about, you've kind of mentioned it a little bit that Khalil was instrumental in getting you to come to Central Penn, but why did you decide, what ultimately was the reason that you decided to come here?
Because I felt like I needed a home to come to, something like I can call a home. And when Khalil got me here, he told me much about the school. When I first got here, I got a little bit nervous because I didn't really know anybody. And then I'm meeting some new people that I'm gonna be playing with on my team. People I met at tryouts. When Khalil came here as a sophomore, that's when I knew he was gonna be a team captain. So it's like I started listening to him more. He started showing me footage, like films, like stuff I should be working on. And I'll say, okay, I got you. When we at practice, we go at it, like no questions asked. When I get around my team, I can call them my family. We call each other's brothers, and we always hang out at the cab. We always hang out in each other's dorms. When we on the bus, when we on to away games, he gets serious. When we come back after a loss, it's no questions asked. He gets really serious. Like you can tell. Like even at practice, when me and Khalil, we'll do the 3-on-2. We like go at it. Like I remember we came back from break, and I remember I had some energy in me, and I remember I'm guarding him. I remember I said something, and I think I'm going at it with him. He's going at it with me. But after the end of practice, it's all love.
Oh, there's no question. Trust me, as somebody who has played sports myself, I'm an extremely competitive person. you have to get into a different mindset when you're playing the game. I mean, friendships aside, you take things seriously and you hold your teammates to as high of a standard as you hold yourself to, which is one thing I can commend you about. One of the things that we had talked about coming into this, of course, we talked about your mom and dad, and we talked about the number 12. But what was it that really gave you the inspiration to continue through, frankly, some tough times? And we don't have to go into that specifically because, this is going out to our campus community. But I know that over the last basketball season, you struggled with the transition from your previous college to here for a variety of reasons. So what was it that kept you fighting and motivated and inspired to continue your journey here at Central Penn?
My family always told me, like, if you love something, go out and get it. If you love basketball, keep going. I remember it was one point in my time, like, when I reached the limit of my senior year of high school, when we lost against Aberdeen in the playoffs. Like, I woke up that very morning stretching. Like, I went to the gym, I'm stretching, I'm doing my free throws, I'm in a little ducking spot. For anybody that don't know what a ducking spot is, it's like when you're in a ducking spot and the point guard's coming down, he dish it off to you, that's your dump off. When we was up and they came back hitting shots after shots, that's when it was over with. I was in the locker room crying. I was crying to my mother. I went home the next day, still kept crying. Like, it's just back to the basic. But I still never gave up because I would always go in the weight room, and I started playing AAU basketball. And this is the moment, like, we're talking about, like, from 2018, I'm starting seeing people, like, go to these big schools. And I just kept saying to myself, kept telling my mother, like, where am I going to go? And that's when my mentor from high school, my coaches from high school came and talked to me. No matter how good of a player you are, coaches don't care. They want to see, like, how's this person in the classroom? How's this person on campus? Because, like, when we played against Perry Hall, I remember one of the players was supposed to be suspended because he had talked back to the coach. And it was, like, just wow. And we never had that. And in 2018, from 2017 to 2018, we had a wonderful coach we had. But then I woke up, literally, like, I'm in the gym, I'm working out, I'm coming back from a camp. I get a phone call like, yeah, he's transferring to Perry Hall. I was like, you're joking, right? So it's kind of just like, wow, so who's going to be our coach?
Well, speaking of which, let's bring it back around to Coach Gary Martin.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about your experience with Coach Martin that has, what are some of the things that he does that really makes him a wonderful coach in terms of not only just coaching young men at college basketball, but also preparing you for the life that's ahead of you?
He's a wonderful coach. He'll talk to you. He cares about you, cares about everybody. He has a caring heart. Love a supportive guy. He always tell you from right to wrong. He'll help you. He'll tell you, like, yeah, can you work on this? Yeah, how's everything? He'll just call to check up on you, like, on a daily basis.
And one of the nicest people I've ever met. Anytime I see him, he's always so complimentary. He loves the broadcast, and he's always so thankful. In fact, I just got to run into him a couple of weeks ago when he was welcoming some recruits on campus. And, of course, I would go through the whole spiel about how we do the broadcasts and things like that, and always just such a kind man. Well, we have just a couple of minutes left here, Donnell, and the one thing that I wanted to talk about with you is how you can give some advice to a student coming in. You've been playing college basketball for a couple of years now, and you've been successful, not only just on the court, but in the classroom as well. Say there's someone out there who's sort of in that position, getting ready to make that transition from high school to college. What are some tips that you can give to them to try to get through that first year?
My advice I can give, just do what you do, stay out the way, stay focused in the classroom, be on time, don't turn your work in late, but most importantly, stay academically focused. Stay on top of things you have to do, and for the season, stay mentally ready.
And now, obviously, we're coming into the summer here. It's not till fall till you guys get started. But what does the basketball team do over the summer? And is there camps that you're working on, or do you guys get together and practice at all? How's that work?
So I know they do like a tournament. I know last year, not even last year, but before I came here, they did a tournament. They do summer camps, And I think that's about it. But I know for me, when I go back home, back to Baltimore, I know my job is to be in the gym, stay in condition, stay in shape, and come back ready for my senior year.
Well, we are really looking forward to seeing you emerge as one of the team leaders this year. We're going to need you, like I said, losing Q and Rodney, but the future of Central Penn basketball is bright, Donnell, because you're going to be one of the leaders this year, and you're going to teach the new recruits how to do things the right way and share with them these stories about, your own hardships. One of the best things I have always said about hardship in our lives is not only does it teach us lessons, but it allows us to teach other people lessons. Some of the things that I've gone through in my own life, I'm able to bring that into the classroom, and I'm able to share with my students. In the same way, some of the hardships you've dealt with over the last couple of years, now you're going to be able to share that with the new folks, and you're going to be able to help them teach them a lesson. So, even though hardships are difficult to get through, when we get through them, it actually is a teaching moment that we can use for ourselves to get better, but also people who we surround ourselves with as well.
Most definitely.
Well, Donnell, listen, thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a pleasure to have you on. And gosh, I wish you just the absolute best of luck this coming up season. I'm going to be looking forward to being out there every home game and calling those games and seeing you make it back to the USCAA championship game.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Of course. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I want to thank our coming up, they called them rising seniors, Donnell Loud. He's going to be one of the leaders of our Central Penn Knights men's basketball team. So again, Donnell, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Miller.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. Thanks to Donnell Loud, and we will see you again next time.